Hi, this is Madhav here from Remote Marketing, and this is part 2 of the Honeypot marketing episode. So, in the first episode, we basically talked about why the need for a honeypot, how I built a honeypot, in one of my previous companies, and we were able to make it into this, this revenue generating channel for us, a long term, very wide, very big long term channel, and how we used honeypots as a tool to funnel growth into our main product, and how we made it into an automatic growth driver. In today's episode, I'm going to talk about how we grew that honeypot into a sustainable, a big product in itself, and then how we monetized that honeypot to generate leads. Because let me be very clear about this, okay? Just because you built out a honeypot, right? You build and then they will come. That app, that applies to a honeypot as well, because it essentially is a product. It doesn't matter. Like, you can build a honeypot and you can be like, Madhav, this strategy sucked because we built this product, nobody came, we didn't get any customers, and we're $500,000 or I don't know, $100,000 down. So don't blame me for that. You need to invest your time in growing that. So here's some ways in how we kind of grew our honeypot. So the first thing that we did was, at that scale, when we started looking for a honeypot specifically, right, we had a high traffic blog that used to get like a ton of visitors, that still does get a ton of visitors, like over 500,000 visitors, right? But not a lot of those visitors can be routed to our main product, because we just covered such a wide variety of topics, and probably 10% was kind of relevant, or maybe 30% was relevant to the main product. We just wanted to kind of, cover the entire arena with all sorts of topics in our space. But that meant that the top of the funnel, right, the most broadest, the most wide topics that we had covered, let's say something like how to send money to India or how to send money to Brazil, right? Now, these are certain topics that we could not obviously get them directly to our main product, but we could use those topics with a lot of volume to sign up to our honeypot, right? So what we started doing was we started identifying the blog posts on, which basically covered or were relevant to the honeypot. And we started adding different CTAs, all sorts of ads on all of these blog posts, right? And that's why I've kept emphasizing this in the earlier episode about honeypot marketing, that you need to find a closely related market when you're building honeypot, right? Because it helps you with these things as well, because now you have a closely related market. That means you've probably covered it on the blog, and you can add CTAs and ads and all of that. And then the other thing that we also started doing was, when we launched the marketplace, we did a huge link building campaign, right? So the good thing with the honeypot is, because it's supposed to be a product to attract a ton of visitors, it's got some great value. Maybe it's free, maybe it's something that's super useful people didn't have, whatever that is, right? It's supposed to attract a lot of people, right? So we use that as, to kind of contact hundreds and thousands of bloggers and journalists and PR teams, just to kind of let them know that there is a product in the market that is very different from other freelance marketplaces, and this is freelancing without the fees. That was basically our theme of the campaign when we did this link building. We were like, we're the only freelancing platform that doesn't charge any fees. Would you like to cover us? And there were obviously different link building tactics that we did. A lot of those are covered by other blogs. I'm not going to do that. Essentially, sometimes you would just reach out to them, be like, we have this cool product. Sometimes you would reach out to them and say that we have this cool product. Would you add us to your list of freelancing places? And if you would do that, I would be happy to give a link on my blog. It's like in the gray area, but you've got to do whatever it takes to kind of grow the Honeypot. And then the third thing, what we also did when we were doing these link building, is that would you be willing to review our freelance marketplace and then share it with your subscribers and to be happy to pay for that review? And so it usually used to range anywhere between $100 to about $300. And but the important thing was we wanted to jumpstart that thing. You wanted to light the fire. So I think in the first 3 months of it launching, we were, through our own outreach, we were mentioned by about 100 bloggers. We were shared on by these bloggers on social media and their own personal groups. We had YouTube videos created about us, and this kind of created this whole chain of different bloggers figuring out, all right, okay, there's a freelancing platform without the fees. And that's how we got to where we are right now. And when we started doing that, we also started looking at the communities, and really started looking at let's say, for example, someone is ranting about a particular freelance platform. Someone from our social media community management team would come in and then say that, what, I understand, totally empathize with your troubles. We built this product to help you, and that. So community management was another thing. We extensively ran ads, and we ran ads for a lot of different geographical markets, starting from India, Philippines, the United States, Brazil, Australia, UK. Pretty much covered all of these markets, and the ads really helped us kind of get a lot of signups as well. And then one of the last things, which was actually one of the first things that we did while growing the Honeypot, which is old school, is that we just started cold emailing a bunch of people, people on, people who had a freelance profile, people, whatever. We just, we had a web scraper who just scraped the web looking for freelance, profiles, and we collected like a list of 20,000 people. And we sent them out an email saying that, it sucks when freelance platforms charge fees, and we've created something without the fees. Would you be interested? And obviously, there was a lot of people replying back, what, screw you, unsubscribe me, you're being totally unethical, all of that. And obviously did hurt my ego as a marketer. And obviously, this is something I wasn't very proud of. But we did that, and that was a huge driver. That actually grew us from 0 to 15,000 freelance profiles, right? So just to all the overlords out there who say that cold email doesn't work, it whatever it says, it is definitely a great thing to start out. So yeah, just like these, we did all of these different things. I'm going to share one last thing that we did to grow our Honeypot in a big way. Was we created a freelance study. Okay, so when we had something like 15,000 freelancers through ads, cold email, link building, blogger outreach, all of this, right? What I did was because I was reading a lot in the community forums, right? I realized that there were a lot of these questions people used to ask about, how much, rate should I charge? How do I increase my rates? How do I avoid bad clients? All of these different questions. So I just went around and, sent out, a bunch of emails to these 15,000, 20,000 freelancers and asked them these questions in the form of a survey. And then I went in the outside world and contacted, partnered with a bunch of other brands and kind of got them to advertise a survey. And then using that, all of this data, we compiled this huge study, okay, which is called the Global Freelancing Study, as far as I remember. This was about 2 years ago. And because we'd spent about 3 months building the study, we built a very powerful narrative. We were like, learn from the top 1% of the freelancing world. We interviewed 15,000 freelancers, and this was our narrative to a PR team. This was our narrative to a bunch of bloggers. This was our narrative for our outreach team when they were reaching out to people, bloggers, influential people, and our users on our platform. And then that particular study got a lot of attention. It got me invitations to talk on podcasts, many podcasts. It got me an invitation to talk at a conference, which I did. And it also got us spots on different really famous media publications like Forbes, CNBC, Entrepreneur. And we, over time, like 3 or 4 months later, we started seeing a lot of people referring our study, major brands referring to our study. I felt that was a great win because it allowed us to build something that was evergreen, the study that people would use to kind of become better, because it was like a collated knowledge of, tens of thousands of freelancers. And it allowed us to create a very strong brand for our freelance marketplace. So this was just one of the many ways we were growing our Honeypot. And this was something, the brainstorming for growing our Honeypot was something we started much earlier, right about, this time when we just decided we're going to build the Honeypot. So that's why I will emphasize the fact that your go-to-market strategy for the Honeypot should start probably before you start building the product, or just about the time when you actually start building that Honeypot. So, just so that you can get going from 3 months before the product really launches, you really need to have momentum by your side to kind of grow the Honeypot. And that's something I would urge you a lot. Now, let's say, over a year and a half, let's say we grew the Honeypot to 60,000 visitors and organically growing every month, right? How do we monetize that Honeypot? Because we're paying for the costs of that. It's free, but there was a reason for it. We wanted to generate a long-term marketing channel, right? So how do we tie in our main product without it affecting these users, right? And so we brainstormed a lot of ways, and I'll share 3 things that we did that just kind of helped us jumpstart that, right? So the first thing what we did was we started advertising our main product, which is HubStuff time tracking, on our platform's pages. So if you go right now, if you go into the profiles or the jobs listings and all, you'll see that we have a small ad on the right or the left, and that is to just, whenever an employer is looking at the page or whenever freelancers look at the page, we want them to check out our main product. And that's the cool thing, right? Like the Honeypot allows us to advertise however and wherever we want to. The other thing, I'll actually emphasize another thing, that please do A/B test these ads. There are some really good opportunities that you can uncover based on the placement or how visually noticeable that ad is. The second thing we did was we started drip emailing all of our users whenever they signed up to the platform, and educating them about time tracking in general and what are the top tools out there and why we are the preferable time tracking tool of choice, and how using our time tracking tool will help them give an edge, or while using our platform, our Honeypot. So the drip emailing really helped in monetizing the Honeypot. And the last thing what we did was we started adding time tracking widgets in our Honeypot. So, whenever, someone was creating a profile, or whenever someone was going to send a proposal to a client, we'd have a small widget at the bottom be like, initiate this project through our main product. So it was like an ad built into the product for our main product. And these are just, these small things, over time have a big effect on how we kind of use the Honeypot into, making it into this revenue generating channel for the main product. And I hope it grows into something much bigger than that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So good luck with your honeypots. If you do build one, and if you do, definitely let me know. I'd be happy to share it out with the people. My email is madhav@remotemarketing.org, and see you in the next episode.